A remote and backwater world hidden away in a dark corner of the Milky Way galaxy, Aegis VII was the site of a human colony and a subsequent necromorph outbreak in the early 2510s. In today's datalog, I want to explore the Dead Space universe and investigate Aegis VII and the horrors spawned from there. Aegis VII was, as its name suggests, the seventh planet in the Cygnus star system, presumably located within the Cygnus star constellation. Sharing many similarities with Earth, Aegis VII was a rocky planet with a molten core that gave the planet a strong magnetosphere, making it a prime location for human colonization. Whilst Earth-like in composition, its mountainous terrain was largely sparse and devoid of anything of note. The sky was a sunset orange-tinted colour, and the atmosphere was thin enough to view its stars and the artificially created rings around the planet even during the day. Reuse on the planet was usually suggested considering the difficult surface conditions. However, despite this, there was enough atmospheric pressure and oxygen content to support basic human survival requirements, but was obviously far less than favourable conditions. This included harsh weather comprising high-velocity winds and semi-regular dust storms. The whole reason humanity colonised the planet was due to the incredibly large quantity of precious metals within the crust of the world. This led to the planet being a prime candidate for the planet cracking mining procedure. The cracking process resulted in a large circular hole generated on the surface where the human colony would eventually come to inhabit, as well as a sparse collection of orbital rumble, rocks and asteroids around the planet, forming a man-made planetary reef. Following the reverse engineering of the black marker discovered on Earth by the group known as the Sovereign Colonies in the 2290s, a number of marker copies were able to be constructed. One notable of which was the red marker catalogued as Marker 3A. This marker was placed on the planet Aegis VII as a research project. Here a team would attempt to decipher the numerous symbols that scattered the surface of the marker and endeavoured to decode the ominous signal the marker outputted. Eventually, their study would result in the creation of necromorph biological tissues that shocked the researchers. As this marker's signals strengthened as a result, other red markers across the galaxy at other research locations all began converging their communications. The markers began to whisper instructions to the human researchers to bring to the marker on the planet Aspera a prisoner by the name of Istvan Sodo, who was living nearby in the Aspera penal colony. The researchers were coerced by the influence and mystic of the marker's instructions and indeed transported the prisoner to the marker on that planet. When exposed to the marker, Istvan's mind acted to amplify and catalyze the signal strength of the markers and in turn initiates a necromorph outbreak. Not only did this outbreak occur on Aspera, but on all of the colonies containing the red markers, including that of Aegis VII. The research team was all slaughtered, and eventually the system and the entire Cygnus star system was marked as an exclusion zone, and space traffic and travel through the region was prohibited by the Sovereign Colonies Council. As time went on and centuries passed, eventually the planet of Aegis VII would become home base to an illegal mining facility developed by the CEC or the Concordance Extraction Corporation. This mining would involve the planet cracking process as conducted by the USG Ishimura, planet cracking being the powerful mining technological system that helped to procure large number of precious materials from deep within a planet's mantle by removing whole chunks of it at a time. This lucrative process spawned a colony around the mining facilities around the early 2500s. However, as the colony grew, they would eventually rediscover the red marker. Unitologists helped to recover it and would come to see the structure as the same one depicted in their spiritual texts. Left on the planet after the first initial outbreak, it would again begin a round of nightmarish effects that the colonists would begin to suffer. Mass insomnia, hallucinations, paranoia, dementia, and overall increases in violent, homicidal, and suicidal behaviors ensued as the marker's dark influence spread throughout the colony. Eventually, captain of the Ishimura, Benjamin Matthias, ordered for the marker to be moved to the Ishimura under orders from the Church of Unitology, which he himself was discreetly involved with. At this same time on the colony of Aegis VII, as death and chaos ensued, reports of a strange organic growth of tissues were noted growing around the colony. Soon after, the colony's communication would mysteriously go dark as the ill effects of the marker become amplified and resulted in a necromorph outbreak. Colonists attempted to flee as the massacre began. Some were able to flee to the only available other location of the Ishimura in orbit. However, a colonist shuttle eventually crashed into the planet Cracker, which destroyed the rest of the remaining shuttles along with itself. And in one accidental move, the colonists and inhabitants of the Ishimura were trapped on and in orbit around Aegis VII with the growing necromorph horde. Eventually, the mass of necrotic tissue on the planet formed into a massive necromorph beast, come to be known as the Hive Mind. Later, with the arrival of the USG Kellyan and Isaac Clarke to the Ishimura, answering the vessel's distress call, he would come to learn of the deadly necromorph outbreak and have to fight for survival trying to bring it to an end. In a last-ditched attempt to end the necromorph scourge growth from developing any further, Clarke planned to return the marker to the surface of Aegis VII. However, in doing so it had an opposite effect as the Mako instead began a necromorph convergence sequence. This released a massive burst of energy which disrupted the gravity tethers holding large, cracked portions of Aegis VII in low orbit, as Isaac struggled, but eventually was able to defeat the hive mind. These large pieces of the extracted rock fell back to the planet as Isaac made his escape. It collided with the surface, not only obliterating the necromorphs below but reducing the surface to a magma-ridden hellscape. Following these events, Earth Golf placed the entire Cygnus system under a full quarantine by the military, stopping civilians or other illegal activities from being conducted in the region again under the fear of future necromorph outbreaks. In the following weeks, the USG abandoned ventured to Aegis VII. The vessel was sent to investigate and recover any remnants of the red marker left behind from the prior destruction. Successful in locating a shard of the marker, the USG would suffer under yet another necromorph outbreak. During the chaos, the gravity field generators placed on Aegis VII to stabilize it after the prior destruction to its upper layers were destroyed. This action caused a cascade of events culminating in the destruction of Aegis VII as the planet exploded from the immense gravitational forces at play. After a short time, the third and final necromorph outbreak was able to be eliminated eventually by subjecting the shard of the marker to the USG Abandon's reactor core, destroying the last shard of this marker and bringing it close to the planet of Aegis VII and the history surrounding this dark world at the edge of space. If you really want to support what we do here and gain a bunch of awesome rewards, consider joining as a Project ACHERON channel member like company representatives, the Sith Lord 906, Lewis Perkins, and Jack Fleming Jr., or like our team members, Raunchy, Ambrosia, and Karl from the War Game Bootcamp. Until next transmission, this is Project ACHERON bringing the knowledge and the power directly to you.